Have you ever wondered what secrets might be hiding beneath the floors of an old school? Imagine walking the halls of a once bustling high school, your footsteps echoing against lockers that haven't been touched in decades. Now imagine knowing that buried deep within those walls, there's a sealed time capsule, one no one dares to open. They say it was locked away in the 1950s, after a string of tragic student deaths left the school forever marked. Some call it cursed, some call it memorial, and some whisper that the capsule itself is the reason for all the sorrow. Close your eyes for a moment and picture it. Rows of teenagers in pressed button-downs and poodle skirts, their laughter carrying down wide, sunlit hallways. Outside, the football field smelled of fresh grass and victory songs. It was a golden time, at least on the surface. But inside those walls, a darker story was already unfolding. Why would a school, a place meant to nurture hope and dreams, decide to hide away a piece of its past, never to be touched again? In the years after World War II, America was changing fast. Small towns were growing, suburbs rising, and schools became the heart of community life. This particular high school was no different. Built from sturdy red brick, it stood tall as a proud beacon of progress. But in the fall of 1956, tragedy began to strike in ways too eerie to ignore. It started with one student. A boy on the debate team collapsed suddenly during practice. His friend said he'd been fine just moments earlier, joking, adjusting his tie, ready to give his speech. Doctors blamed a hidden heart condition. People mourned and moved on. But just 2 weeks later, another death followed. This time, it was a girl from the choir. She fainted mid-song and never woke up. By spring, 3 more students were gone, each under strange and sudden circumstances. Some said illness, others said accident. But the whispers among classmates and teachers suggested something different, something darker. What would you believe if 5 bright young lives were cut short in the very same building, all within the same school year? Coincidence or curse? The fear spread quickly. Parents pulled their children out of class. Teachers left their posts. The school board was desperate to restore a sense of peace. And that's when they came up with the idea of the time capsule. They gathered items that once felt ordinary but now carried a haunting weight. Handwritten notes from students who had passed, their favorite books, a football signed by the team captain, choir sheet music still marked with pencil notes, all sealed in a heavy metal box, buried beneath the auditorium floor. The intention, they said, was remembrance, to preserve the spirit of the students forever. But not everyone saw it that way. Some believed the capsule was a lockbox for grief, a container for restless souls. By sealing it, the town hoped to quiet the tragedies that had shaken their children. Imagine standing there on the day it was lowered into the ground. The autumn air crisp, leaves drifting across the courtyard, parents clutching each other's hands, students staring with wide, uncertain eyes. The box disappeared beneath the earth, and with it, an entire chapter of the school's history was shut tight. But here's the question. What happens when you try to bury pain instead of facing it? For decades, the school remained open, but it never fully shook its strange reputation. Kids told stories in hushed voices, that the time capsule could be heard rattling in the night, or that you could see ghostly figures in the auditorium if you lingered too long after practice. Custodians swore lights flickered no matter how many times they replaced the bulbs. Teachers felt cold drafts rush through empty hallways. Were these just inventions of nervous minds, or was something truly trapped beneath the floorboards? As the years rolled on, the high school aged. By the 1980s, its once bright bricks looked tired. By the 1990s, many classrooms sat empty, desks stacked against the wall. And finally, in the early 2000s, the building closed its doors for good. Yet through all that time, the capsule was never opened. It remained sealed, the ground above it quietly undisturbed. That silence is perhaps the eeriest part, because usually, time capsules are meant to be rediscovered. A gift from the past to the future. But not this one. The townspeople agreed it was never to be touched. Some locals say opening it would invite tragedy back into their lives. Others admit they're simply too afraid to see what's inside. What would you do if you had the key? Would curiosity outweigh fear? Or would you leave it untouched, respecting the uneasy peace it represents. There's something hauntingly beautiful about the objects inside. A football once thrown across a field, now silent. A choir song that once filled the air, now trapped in darkness. Smiles frozen on yearbook pages, pressed between time and sorrow. These were the lives of real teenagers, young people who never had the chance to grow old, whose belongings now sit in the stillness of a lockbox. And maybe that's why the story of this cursed time capsule still lingers. It's not just about hauntings or whispers of ghosts. It's about memory and the lengths we go to hold on to it. Sometimes we put the past on display. Other times, we bury it deep, hoping the earth itself can guard it for us. When you think about it, every time capsule is a kind of haunting, a message left behind, waiting to be unearthed. But this one is different. This one was never meant to be answered. So tonight, as you sit in the glow of your screen, think of that school standing silent, the capsule lying cold beneath its auditorium. Imagine the laughter, the songs, the footsteps of students who once filled those halls. And then imagine all of it sealed away, waiting, whispering, never forgotten. Do you believe in curses, or do you believe in history, refusing to stay buried? Either way, the unopened time capsule of that high school remains where it was placed nearly 70 years ago. A mystery, a memorial, and perhaps a warning. If you enjoyed wandering through this piece of American lore, don't forget to like this video, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more haunting stories from the past. Because sometimes the scariest things aren't hidden in the dark. They're the things we choose never to touch.